Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
Find a living in fisheries. The UAS Fisheries Technology Program offers online study from anywhere in Alaska, plus labs and workshops in many Alaska towns.
Is most likely a chum.
Find your living without leaving where you are. Fisheries Technology from UAS.
The National Weather Service.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for this Sunday's edition of Alaska Weather. Yesterday's satellite imagery showed some clouds taking off to the southeast here and other massive cloudiness dropping southward, kind of developing into a system there in the Gulf of Alaska. Clear skies, south central Alaska, clearing out after the brief morning low clouds that occurred, and some moisture sliding southward here in the form of clouds down into the southwest interior areas. Otherwise, not much going on. Some sunshine there across the southeast coast yesterday, developing system down here to the south, and then not a lot going on out to the west there. A few bands of clouds there producing a little bit of precipitation out over the Bering Sea. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, areas of fog, and then a frontal system back through here pushing eastward toward the western Arctic coast. And today, starting out 6 a.m., about in that position there, stands out quite vividly. This is just a band of high stuff coming southward there across the western interior, right out of the Arctic, sweeping in south of Kodiak Island and rolling this along that front. You can see really weakening as it drags eastward onto the coast there. Definitely bringing in cooler temperatures than what was seen yesterday there just by swinging the winds around to the northwest. Instead of mid-60s up there, down into the upper 30s there at both Barrow and Wainwright this afternoon. Otherwise, lots of sunshine over the interior areas. A few showers here lingering, mostly on the northeast side of the Wrangell Mountains there. And it looks like some buildups, just clouds though, over the Talkeetnas and western Copper River Basin area. Lots of sunshine through the valleys all the way down to the North Gulf Coast. Sunshine 70s there across Kodiak Island. And that system developed pretty good here and pushing a front northward into the Panhandle. That brought some light rain across Dixon Entrance, making landfall along the southern southeast coast during the afternoon today. Were a few showers up along the central coast there, but again, all the amounts quite light. Otherwise, lots of fog, areas of fog, and drizzle there around the Pribilof, some fog for the eastern Aleutians, but sunshine again breaking out today, 60s to 70s along the Alaska Peninsula. Pretty good conditions up into the southwest interior, and north winds getting a little gusty. There are the Matanuska and portions of the Susitna Valley, anywhere from 15 to 30 miles an hour out of the north. Some areas seeing actually gusts of 35. Pretty gusty at Palmer Airport this afternoon. That pushing temperatures up into the 70s and in some cases the lower 80s. Again, a few showers here over the eastern Alaska range, or actually on the northeast side of the Wrangell Mountains. Otherwise, pretty good day over the interior. Start picking up the clouds though as you head to the west, but really no precipitation to speak of except a narrow band, as I mentioned, along that front as it progressed eastward. And again, northwest winds keeping the little cloud cover in along the central and western Arctic coast there. But clear skies, offshore flow, pretty good day there at Kaktovik, and then a little bit of light rain over toward the Dead Horse and maybe Nuiqsut area. But again, amounts very light, just a few hundredths of an inch. Same with this mass of moisture down here, just a few hundredths of an inch. Having fallen in the last 6 hours there over the southern southeast coast. A few showers up to the north there, somewhere between Port Alexander, Sitka. Those appear to be shifting off the coast there. And northwest winds, again, pushing temperatures in the 70s around Kodiak Island. And up to the north there, those winds increasing, pretty strong high pressure area building in over the Chukchi Sea. So Point Hope, Point Hope and Kivalina, seeing northeast winds 20 to 30 miles an hour. Otherwise pretty light elsewhere down the coastline here. A little bit of light rain, fog, and drizzle around the Pribilofs. Again, as I mentioned, over the eastern Aleutians and all the way out to the west with the sunshine over the Alaska Peninsula. For tonight, you may see some low clouds and fog will probably redevelop once again like it did today there on the north side of the peninsula, staying fair to the south. Same sort of pattern here over the eastern Aleutian areas on up into the Pribilofs and to the north with patchy fog here along the southwest coast and variable clouds inland. Whatever's left of that very weak system pushes off to the east there and brings maybe a few sprinkles over toward Kaktovik or continues that. For tonight, nothing significant at all. Fair conditions over the interior, temperatures dropping in the 40s and 50s, lower 50s, and the showers about over with now, just some clouds left behind on the eastern Alaska range. And this system circulating moisture northward keeps a chance of rain in over the southern panhandle with just clouds up to the north. And out to the west, not a lot going on. The low pressure area there off the chart, southeast winds kind of surging a little bit of moisture northward, keeping it cloudy and kind of damp. And that'll continue through tomorrow as well. Southeast flow, IFR conditions into the central and western Aleutians. Just fog off to the east here. Could see some clearing around the Fox Islands there. Another sunny day in store for Kodiak Island. And really all of interior Alaska, mostly sunny skies tomorrow with warm temperatures. Again, south of the mountains into the 60s, 70s, maybe approaching 80 once again. Winds, the gusty winds lightening up a little bit from what they were today here, especially along the North Gulf coastal areas. Low clouds and fog, eastern Arctic coast, IFR, but that offshore flow picking up, that should clear it out quite nicely with sunshine. Central north slope all the way off the coast. And of course, on the southeast coast there, you're looking at rain with that front pushing northward. Most of the rain will be central and southern areas there, kind of getting close to Juneau, right on the edge of the precipitation there with clouds to the north. But Yakutat could be mostly sunny again tomorrow with not much effect of that system. And that rain will continue tomorrow night, and then it looks like on Tuesday that'll break out the showers. Excuse me. As that front pushes eastward and weekend, so mostly cloudy, scattered showers in the forecast for Tuesday there across the southeast coast. Winds not all that strong, a little gusty there, northern Link Canal, small craft advisories in effect for that area, and possibly even along the coast over the next couple of days, but nothing really, no heavy wind or rain at all associated with that system. Otherwise, by contrast, just sunshine in the forecast here, all interior Alaska. Maybe a few clouds floating around, basically mostly sunny to just flat out sunny. All the way down Kodiak Island again, Prince William Sound, North Gulf Coast, and nice conditions right out to Nunivak Island with the low clouds and fog here from the Alaska Peninsula due to those light wind conditions up across the Pribilofs. And now that system has been off the chart, moves northward Monday night, and that pushes the front weak front here into the area there. Probably good for some small craft advisories, mainly around Adak and Atka. That's about it. Chance of rain increases there in Nikolsky, maybe even on Alaska. Rain, fog, and drizzle all the way out to just about Shimia with IFR conditions, of course, accompanying that. Southeast coastal temperatures this afternoon looks something like this. Cooler down to the south, again with the clouds and the precipitation moving in, just 63 at Klawock. Ketchikan 62, 64 in Sitka. Into the sunshine, you're into the 70s, 73 at the state capital. Skagway up to 79. Yakutat a nice 76 degrees. And Cordova, Valdez 75, mid 70s here. Lower to mid across Kenai Peninsula. Upper 70s, that's Big Lake there. They had 81 degrees today. And Wasilla, or not Wasilla, but Willow was up to 80 as well. Otherwise, on up to the north, 60s. Cooler along the Arctic coast, again from that 64 record-breaking temperature at Barrow yesterday, just 38 this afternoon. Same thing over here at Wainwright with mid-40s off to the east, near 50 for the north slope, and almost 70 there at Battles with 69, 69 also at McGrath. Upper 50s here over the northwest, and 50s along the southwest coast with 60s inland there with 65 at Bethel. Looks like Dillingham pushed up to 70, about that at King Salmon with 73 degrees at Falls Pass. Appeared to be a good temperature there. It looked like it was nothing but sun down in this area this afternoon. Sandpoint at 70, about the same thing at Chignik. Upper 50s, eastern Aleutians, mid 50s out to the west. And for lows tonight, 30s along the Arctic coast, otherwise 40s to lower 50s through the remainder of inland Alaska, lower 50s, Alaska Peninsula, 50s for the Panhandle, 40s and 50s for the Aleutians. And the highs tomorrow, again, another nice day, definitely back into the 70s here. Susitna Valley, south central Alaska, right on down to the coast, and mostly in the 60s here for the southeast coast. 60s or upper 50s to near 70 here over the interior areas, with definitely 60s mid to upper there across the southwest, 50s along the coast, 60s for the Alaska Peninsula once again, and northeast Bristol Bay, both King Salmon, maybe Koliganek, Dillingham, possibly even Togiak into the 70s, and about 40 there for the Arctic coast. For the flying weather tomorrow morning, IFR, Wainwright eastward over to Mackenzie River Bay area, and also from St. Lawrence Island southward to the Pribilofs, to the north side of the eastern Aleutians, marginal VFR over the southern southeast coast, and then by afternoon that improves a little bit, or actually that shifts northward there at the front into the Panhandle. Good VFR, Gulf of Alaska, Prince William Sound, all the way right out to the coastline. Marginal VFR, north slope, east side. Up could be some IFR lingering throughout the day here over in the east side. Areas of IFR or marginal conditions at best out across the Bering Sea and even the Aleutians. It looks like forecasting some marginal VFR to shift in over the Alaska Peninsula tomorrow afternoon, but definitely will be lower on that Bering Sea side. And for Anaktuvik, passes all VFR once again, just like they were through the weekend, yesterday and today and tomorrow. Again, VFR, Rainy, Lake Clark, Merrill, Isabel, Mentasta, Tanita, Portage, and Chilkoot, no change. Freezing levels, still warm air up here near the Bering Strait up in the northwest there with that upper level ridge, about 12,000 feet, cooling off to about 8,000 feet over the eastern interior, down in toward the southeast coast there, and out to the west, about 10 to 12,000 feet there from the west coast all the way out to Kamchatka Peninsula. For icing, none out that way, none over the interior, but with that front and the moisture, look for some areas of light icing there above about 8,000 feet there for the central southeast coast down to the Queen Charlottes. And the jet stream, again, that tremendous ridge of high pressure right through this area and those 12,000 foot freezing levels, south to north flow here, 40 to 60 knots over the western Bering. Northerlies up to about 70 here coming into the eastern North Gulf Coast areas, so pretty close to what you'd call a full latitude block here with a trough right through this area and then one back out to the west. And 9,000 feet, northeasterlies 20 to 25 through this area, dropping off as they reach the coast. And then southeasterlies coming up to about 25 across Dixon Entrance to the southern Panhandle. Easterlies, looks like the strongest winds up there will be on the western Arctic coast, 25 knots. And could be a little gusty here through the interior as well, kind of a band easterlies 20 to 30 knots coming into the eastern and central interior, and lighter winds out to the west. 3,000 feet, 15 to 20 or so through that central interior area, easterlies 25 on the Arctic coast, and southeast 10 to 20 coming into the southern Panhandle, and light winds out here with high pressure, although could approach 30 knots there for the central Aleutians. As far as turbulence goes, maybe a little bit of light to isolated moderate chop for Adak and Atka, and through the interior here with those stronger winds, light to isolated, mostly below about 4,000 to 6,000 feet, give or take. Offshore flow could get a little bumpy there along the eastern Arctic coast and north slope. Northern Panhandle, southern Panhandle could be probably the most turbulent areas there, but nothing that's going to hurt you at all. And after the break, I'll be back to look at the marine forecasts.
Coming up on Destination Tomorrow, we take a look at NASA's Aviation Safety Program. We'll look back at some highlights of the program and find out what the future holds for aviation. All this and more next on Destination Tomorrow.
We found that that changing the seats has made a lot of difference and saved a lot of lives. However, there's more we can do. We need to look at the whole system, like changing the structure so that not only do we have the seat stay attached, but energy is taken out of the system through the structure itself. And they're wearing special restraints that keep them in their seat, and also may even put airbag technology in some of the aircraft. And for large airplanes, we're even looking at changing the design so that it will deliberately brake in certain places. Then we can determine where not to put hot things or sharp things or fuel lines and things like that so that people can get out or egress through these openings in the large aircraft.
Lisa, a lot of the things that you described are things that NASA and the industry are doing to make flying safer, but is there anything the general public can do to make flying safer?
Yes, you can check your luggage, all of it if possible, because things in the luggage bins do become flying objects in a crash event. Computers, for instance, are very heavy objects, and if they come flying through the aircraft at landing speeds of 200 knots, then you have an issue because it will definitely injure people. People are not replaceable, things are, so if you can check the luggage, then you're doing a great service to prevent injuries in an accident. We want people to walk away from these survivable events and not have any injuries. And we're working hard to get there.
Did you know that NASA researchers are working with industry to better train pilots and airline personnel? In recent years, NASA researchers have developed textbooks and web-based programs that help increase pilot proficiency in an automated cockpit, while also improving training for maintenance crews and inspectors. These programs are increasing awareness and helping to prevent future accidents from ever occurring. In recent years, NASA researchers have also been focused on reducing fuel flammability and in detecting fires aboard aircraft. In fact, NASA recently won the prestigious R&D 100 award for a fire detection system that has a very low false alarm rate. Dust, dirt, and aerosols frequently fool current fire detection systems, creating about 200 false alarms for every real fire. This is problematic for many different reasons. When a fire alarm goes off, a pilot will immediately initiate emergency landing procedures and will divert the flight to the closest airport. This is not only inconvenient, but is also very expensive, costing the airlines about $50,000 for each false alarm. It's clear to see that this new NASA system will not only save money, but also make flying safer.
NASA has also worked to reduce the chance of an explosion inside an aircraft's fuel tank. When some fuel tanks are not completely full, research has found that wiring inside the tank may cause sparking. This sparking could ignite the oxygen contained in the empty space, causing an explosion. To fix this problem, researchers have designed a fuel system that can replace the oxygen in empty spaces with nitrogen. This works well because nitrogen suppresses fire while oxygen feeds it. Coming up, we'll take a look at a unique facility that is designed to test aircraft icing. But first, did you know that even if the engines on a large commercial aircraft fail, it should be able to glide safely to the ground? Most commercial jet aircraft have approximately a 15-to-1 glide ratio, which means it will glide 15 feet for each foot it descends. At this rate, an airplane flying at 35,000 feet can glide for about 525,000 feet, or 100 miles.
Weather conditions play an important role in all flights. Perhaps one of the most dangerous conditions that can affect aircraft is ice. Fortunately, NASA researchers have been using a unique facility that can simulate the icing effects on aircraft.
Thanks for the ice. You know, there's nothing like a beverage chilled with ice during a long flight. Inside an airplane, ice is something passengers desire. However, outside an airplane, ice can be dangerous, especially if it forms on the wings or engines. I had the opportunity to speak with Judy Foss Van Zanti at the NASA Glenn Research Center in Cleveland, Ohio. She's researching the effects of icing on aircraft at a unique facility called the Icing Research Tunnel. Researchers at this facility study the formation of ice on the exterior of aircraft. So while flying, the only ice you'll need to worry about is the ice inside your cup.
Well, I'm standing right here in the Icing Research Tunnel. Right here we create on Earth what it's like for an airplane to fly through an icing cloud up there. To do that, we got to make it windy, cold, and wet. Now right now I'm standing in front of the fan. We have the fan to create the wind, and in the test section, which is a much smaller cross-sectional area, we can get winds up to 400 miles per hour. So that's about as fast as a plane might fly through in an icing environment. We create the cold with our heat exchanger. 1,700 ton. It can cool 500 homes. That's how big it is. We can get from 0 Celsius down to about -20, which is where the icing might occur in nature. And we have spray bars. The spray bars is what makes the icing tunnel. We create the rain. We create a mist that the airplane would fly through. Now the thing about the spray bars is the researchers need to control both how much water is in the cloud, the liquid water content we call it, and how big the drop size is. And we have spray bars specially designed to create those conditions. So in our test section, we create what it's like for a plane to fly through an icing cloud.
So why did NASA build an icing research tunnel?
As it turns out, during World War II, the Allies lost more aircraft to icing than enemy fires. They were trying to fly supplies over the Himalayas. So the Air Corps turned to NACA, that's NASA's predecessor, and asked them to build an icing research tunnel so we could understand what was going on and how to fix the problem.
So what do you test in the icing research tunnel, or the IRT?
What we test in the IRT is what makes sense to test. Now if you think about it, if you're in an airplane flying through an icing cloud, what surfaces are most critical to keep ice-free? Well, it's the wings, which provide the lift, get you off the ground, and it's the engine inlet, which provides the forward thrust. So we typically can test just those components, just the wing or the engine inlet.
So what happens when ice forms on an airplane's wing? Well, ice can disrupt the airflow over a wing and will eventually cause the airflow to separate. This separation of airflow creates more drag and less lift. If ice continues to form, the wing will no longer produce the appropriate amount of lift needed to keep the airplane in flight. In some cases, ice creates airflow separation over movable parts, like an aileron. This could create handling or control problems, and the plane could suddenly roll.
As the wing is flying through the air, the ice only accumulates around the leading edge. So that's why ice protection systems only wrap around the front part of the wing. The biggest factor in how the ice grows is temperature. So if it's really cold, the water droplet comes in, hits the front part of the wing, and freezes on impact. And you get this nice pointy rime shape. The more dangerous ice comes during warmer conditions, those closer to freezing, where the water comes in, hits the leading edge, and actually runs back a little bit. If that happens, the next droplet might come in, see that droplet that is frozen, and start to grow. So you might get these ram's horns that grow upstream. Now that significantly disrupts your airflow, and that's way off design, and that's very bad.
East-southeasterly small craft advisories here in the south, north-northeast small craft advisories in the north there, kind of matching up with the turbulence on the previous graphic, lighter winds in between. And for Tuesday, southeast 15 for Clarence Strait, Stevens Passage, north 15, those northerlies again pick up. Northern Canal 25 knots, and then easterlies turning northeast, all in the 20-25 knot range out along the coast. Seas only 6 to 7 feet. For Prince William Sound, north 15 tomorrow, north to northeast at 15 for the North Gulf Coast. Coming around to the northwest here, Kodiak Island, the Barrens, Kamishak Bay, but just 15 to 20. Light northerlies for Cook Inlet. And for Tuesday, those pick up 15 to 20 knots there, especially south of the Forelands, down across Kamishak Bay at about 20 knots. Otherwise, northeast 15 here for Kodiak, north to northwest at 15. Pretty light winds there for the North Gulf Coast as well as Prince William Sound. And for Bristol Bay tomorrow, northeast 15, light northwest breezes there across the peninsula at about 10 knots, just 4 to 5 foot seas. And then for Tuesday, easterlies here, Bristol Bay down the north side of the peninsula, westerlies on the south side turning northwest from Castle Cape to Sitkinak. Then for the Aleutians, Fox Islands tomorrow, pretty light winds, basically east or variable to east at about 10 or less with slight seas. Then those southeasterlies pick up, looking at 25 knots here for the central Aleutians, seas 7 to 8 feet, and then dropping back again out toward the west. And for the Tuesday outlook, northeast 15 increasing to 25. Small craft advisories holding here over the central Aleutians and progressing in toward the Fox Islands there. So southeasterlies 20 to 25, seas running 6 to 8 feet. For the southwest coast, easy, north 15, seas 3 feet. Light winds for the Pribilof, southeast 15, St. Matthew Island, St. Lawrence, northeast at 20 with 4 foot seas. shaded down a little there on the next day with 15 knots right into the northern Bering Sea. And north of Nunivak Island, more of a northeast lighter wind condition there south of Nunivak Island. Easterlies roughly 15 for the Pribilofs with 4-foot seas. Eastern Arctic coast, central and eastern coast, east to northeast at 15 knots with 3-foot seas. Then we've got small crafts here on the west side all the way down to Cape Thompson, northeast 20 from Wales up to Cape Thompson. And for the Tuesday outlook, those winds are coming pretty light here for Tuesday, north 15 to easterlies at about 20 knots all along the Arctic coast, but getting a little lighter there over toward Demarcation Point, and those seas still running about 4 to 5 feet. And looking at tonight's forecast again, clear skies, mostly clear. Still out to the west and to the north, you may run into some clouds, but precipitation free. This system's so washed out, I probably shouldn't even have drawn it on there. And these showers over in Canada where they belong. And then some rain with this front holds on to the southern southeast coast with just variable clouds up to the north. Bering Sea, just same pattern there. IFR, fog, drizzle, maybe some light rain like along an organized trough there, but that's about it. And then for tomorrow, sunshine, Kodiak Island, North Gulf Coast, all the way up to the western Arctic coast with those gusty east winds up in that area. Temperatures back into the 70s in many locations over the interior. Rain becomes a little more dominant over the central and southern southeast coast. Tomorrow, again with those small craft advisories, high pressure holding over the central Bering Sea. No change out there for the next day or so, but a low coming up from the south pushes the front up into the area with more widespread rain and fog, and again a little bit more in the way of wind are holding those small craft advisories in toward the eastern Aleutians to Adak. And the southeast coast mostly cloudy with showers, sunshine again for the interior areas, and then low clouds and fog up there along the Arctic coast. That's about it. So let's look at the weather for tonight. Thanks for joining us. See you again tomorrow.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
When shopping for your family's meals, do you know where you can find Alaska-grown products? Everywhere. They're available at your local grocery stores and farmers markets across the state. Alaska-grown products are fresher and more nutritious, and buying local helps grow our economy. So just look for the Alaska-grown label when you shop, or ask your grocer where the Alaska-grown products are. Remember, Alaska-grown. It's closer, fresher, better.
And it's all along